Okay. Welcome to this would be episode 1. We're gonna maybe one day revisit episode 0. But
We'll
this
see.
Wait,
yeah,
episode 0 and 1, they're like one and the same,
no,
right?
no, this is episode 1. We did have an episode 0 where we practiced, but my name's Thomas. I usually go by Wet the System or Systemic, depending on which Discord I'm in. And this is episode 1 of Siblings in Cardboard, where we talk about flesh and blood and card games and just coming together to enjoy good card games.
Speaking of siblings, there's one of them.
Yeah, there's one of
Kevin.
them. He only plays Yu-Gi-Oh though. I haven't brought him over to
But
the.
he's
to
still
the
a
flesh
sibling in cardboard because of Yu-Gi-Oh. We love it.
All right, go ahead, Noah.
TCGs, no hate.
Oh, my name is Noah, otherwise known as Big Max in some of the Discords. That's mainly the only two names I go by. You can call me either one. Doesn't matter to me. I'm a Dory player. That's my my fat background. At I would say semi-competitive level. I wish I was a
Hey, we went to
competitive player, but we're getting there.
We went to Las Vegas. We went to the Battle Hard in Atlanta. We're competitive players.
Sure, I'll
You're
take it.
definitely trying, and you are trying hard enough to be coached by Josh Lau, so there's that.
Oh man, yeah. Hold on, let me edit that.
Oh, no.
There we go.
There you go.
I just the camera was out of focus. It would have drove me nuts. But yes, I am trying to get better. I have had some sessions with Josh, who we'll talk about his record. Maybe it was a good weekend for him.
Yeah, he had a great run in that. My name's Donnie. I go by Draco Hominis 87 on all the social medias and through Discord. I'm in a lot of different Discords. I've been fairly active on Twitter. If you know my name at all, it's probably from Fabric, because I write the Fab Dad series and I've been doing the tournament coverage reviews. The next one is actually going to be posting tomorrow, the one that I did a write-up on for US Nats. So definitely go check that out.
I even thought considering calling the podcast like Fab Dads or something, and then we just
Fab
joked that,
Dads.
and then we just joked that Noah just wants to take all the Fab Dads to Chili's.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good too. I do like taking dads to Chili's. We'll get to that, I guess, in one of the episodes. But
I think Siblings in Cardboard covers it perfectly fine, and then we get that awesome acronym. Sick.
I agree. Yeah,
Okay.
It's definitely sick.
So the thing that I'm still recovering from, I'm exhausted, is U.S. Nationals in Las Vegas. It was fantastic. It was my first like really major event. I didn't know what to expect, but I had a great time.
Yeah, what was the venue like over there? I mean, it was
awesome.
Westgate?
It was the Westgate Hotel. I stayed at a hotel across the street, so I basically just had to jaywalk to get there. And it was just amazing. Like, even for me staying across the street at a slightly cheaper hotel, it was so easy to get to the venue. And then like you have the casino and some restaurants, and they did a great job organizing it. And it was kind of far enough away from everything that there was not like cross chatter with other events, because Miss America was happening in that hotel.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah,
it was super cool.
Yeah, have you
Yeah, I
guys
think-
ever been to Vegas before? Was your first time
No.
going?
I've been. I went for ice skating and a wedding one time. That was good,
What
but
about you,
didn't do very much there. I did way more there this time.
Well, that would have been the last time I went to Vegas as well. I mean, I've taken maybe one trip before that, but the last time I was there was when we were doing the Skate America and a wedding that we both happened to be at. So it was a blast for me. I mean, I had fun in the city from the minute I landed until the minute I left. I mean, I'm not joking, by the way. Like, from the second I landed,
I watched Noah gamble a lot.
We're in the airport.
I didn't gamble
I mean,
very much.
I gambled everywhere you could physically figure, including in Fab too. Lots in Fab, but I had to make sure I played some of the slots and some table games when I was there, just killing time. But the venue was great. I mean, I was nervous too. I didn't really know what to expect, how it was going to get handled, all the people. There's so much space. There was tons of outdoor areas if you wanted to go like smoke or chat or whatever. There was food set up there next to the fab thing for like snacks and stuff. It was
Ooh,
decently
expensive.
reasonable price. I mean, it's your normal hotel price. You
Vegas.
gotta pay you gotta pay $4 for a bottle of water.
$6
I mean,
hot dog.
those are. It's like you went to a movie theater, but you got cards instead of a movie. But the vendors
I
were
would
great.
go to that theater. Yeah, that sounds like a good time to me.
I was enjoying that. They had a cheese Danish, and I didn't care how much it was. I paid for it.
And
Yeah,
But,
neither of you guys
speaking of
qualify
spending
for
money,
hats, right?
there's some good swag there too, like new stuff. Like the
Oh, yeah.
limited edition coins I've seen are like
yes.
going for
We got you one.
yeah, I've got one to bring to you tomorrow.
awesome.
So
I will
these-
definitely be there
These
tomorrow.
things
to pick it up.
are like I've seen people asking to buy them for like $25 or something now. But it's cool. It's got like the date and the location, Las Vegas 2023.
Oh, they finally added that? Yeah, because
Yeah.
Fab Metal Tokens have done an exclusive resource token for every one of the major events that they've been to, but they haven't done like a date or the or the title of the event or anything. It's just been a different design. So
Yeah.
that's the first one where they actually have included that then.
I went
That's
ahead
pretty
and
cool.
picked up my stuff preparing from Bright Lights. I got the mechanologist token set. Nice gold
Okay.
and blue. And then
Nice.
this is a new one you might not have seen because I think this one was brand new for this one too. Is the new Findle Spring Tunic.
I have
Turner
seen that.
that they just came out with.
One of those so bad. I'm going to end up buying it. It's just one of the lower
Fantastic.
priority things. That
Yeah.
is beautiful.
That
I
is
don't play
super
Tunic
cool.
very often, so when I'm not playing Tunic, it's gonna be my Arsenal marker. So I get some use out of it. And then Steve Argyle was there. If you don't know who Steve Argyle is, he does art for Leviah Redeemed. So I got myself the full art Leviah Redeemed mount on top of the normal one that you get for doing the Fable package.
Nice.
And then got it signed.
That is beautiful. That is a beautiful mat. Oh
And
my
then
goodness.
if anyone's a Brandon Sanderson nerd, he also does Brandon Sanderson.
Is that Vin?
That's Vin on the Pillars of Credit Shaw. And then
Oh
his
my
his wife
goodness.
is the one handling the orders, right? And I go to buy it and I'm like, just the Sharpie signature's okay. That's great. And she's like, it's not truth unless it's written in metal. And I'm like, you could have my $10. You got me.
Yes.
You got me.
Oh. Don't
It's-
trust anything not written in metal.
Don't trust anything not written in metal. I mean, that's
Oh,
we're
man.
getting some like deep nerd references here that are not Flesh and
Oh,
Blood related,
man.
but they were Steve Argyle related. And man, Steve Argyle, he just seemed like such a gem, and his wife was so like in control, making sure that the booth was perfect, and she was really cool too, and somehow managed to keep track of like literally 25 people who all owed her money at once. Because she was
Wow.
just slamming out mats and signatures and making sure everything that Steve needed was happening. So
That's awesome. Yeah,
And
I
then,
was not aware that you were a Cosmere nerd. That is
I am.
that is great.
And then
Because
Noah
I love Sanderson.
Noah had the most disgusting case of that. Okay, that's why your case of Dynasty was bad.
It
That
has to be.
case of Uprising was nuts.
The universe can only give me so many good things, and the case of Uprising was amazing. I can't pull out the RF. There was 3 legendaries total in the case, which is already crazy. 2 Marvels, which is pretty absurd, and the Marvels were great hits too. So I got Thamai and Tomultai.
A Marvel
that's not gonna do
Tomultai,
anything,
which is crazy.
But I can't do it. Thank
Yeah,
you,
there you go.
camera.
It is.
Marvel Tomultai and Marvel Thamai.
Hmm.
And then I got the RF Ghostly Touch and RF Coronet. And then, just when I thought it couldn't get any better, I actually got the one thing I really wanted, which was Cold Foil Crown.
Dude, most disgusting case of Uprising I've ever seen.
Yeah, all of that was
So-
out of one case.
One case.
All that was out of one case. And in fact, the one of the judges came by, I think the head judge, and he was like, oh, this is the one. He picked it up and it ripped, and we said set it aside for last. All 3 boxes were fire except for the one that he picked. But it was funny because it got us to the fire faster. So I was like, look, it must all work the way it needed to. But that was one of the sickest cases I've ever opened, and so I was pretty excited. So that gambling went well, and that was about the only gambling that went well.
So I played me and Noah both played in the calling. I actually did really well. Almost made it to
Yeah.
day 2. I got kicked out of day 2
Nice.
by a draw. So I was 5-2. I went in. The Dromai didn't play excessively slow, but you know how Dromai games go. They usually go to the 15th or 20th turn, and they're spending 120 seconds per turn. That very quickly adds up to 40 minutes just from their turn.
And what were you playing?
I was playing Levia, so I was slamming into it, and I flipped redeemed, and that was turn 0. And I would have even considered conceding without taking an action, except I knew that I had potential to win still based off the board state, and the judge is sitting right there, and he knows my hand, and it's just bad sportsmanship at that point to just chump. So I wasn't going to chump. If the guy had it, if he took the time and he won it out and got it, he could have it, but he didn't. I had the double. If he had Chromai and Lost in Thought, he had it, but I had the double popper otherwise. So he just swung with Chromai, pop, swung with another dragon, pop, and then the turn was over. But it was great. I was very excited. I played really well. I played 3 Lexis, beat 2 of them, and almost beat the other one. Played 2 Icelanders and beat both of them. I lost to Dromai, and it was specifically lack of reps. I think I could have beat both the Dromais I played, even the one that went to a draw, because I think I could have played faster with more reps to compensate for knowing that Dromais like to take their 90 to 120 second turns. One of the Lexis I beat, I had 24 life. I slapped that Lexi around. It was disgusting. I got the mythical. I went second, and she double loaded an arrow, and then I threw a command and conquer at her, and then she 2-blocked it, and I hit it with Art of War.
Oh, there it is.
That's awesome.
The correct way to use Art of War, in my opinion, is to do it in that fashion, because the value's out of control.
I got 4 cards with that command and conquer. That is a great way to start off versus Lexi. And if you're playing any deck that runs any kind of pump that's sneaky like Art of War, because the good players think about it, I'm sure. But when you're in those earlier brackets, you could sneak that command and conquer with Art of War. It's worth it every single time. They just have nothing. And the one Lexi I lost, guess what I lost to? Hornet Sting.
Hornet Sting?
The stupid arm guards.
You died to the Hornet Sting?
No, I was at 2. I could have taken 1 damage, dropped to 1, and I would have been able to play a Blood Rush Bellow and win the game. Yeah, but I couldn't drop to 1 because the Hornet Sting was still there. And I was like, well, I guess I just got to block with this Blood Rush Bellow. And then I block, and then I swing for 6 the next turn, and he goes, okay, well, I'm going to block with Hornet Sting. We're going to see if it was it. And bam, was it. I would have died to Hornet Sting if I hadn't done it, and I died anyway because I couldn't keep the Blood Rush Bellow. It was a really close game. So I'm really proud that I played the strongest deck in the meta with a hero's difficult and kind of underdog as Levia, and just really, really dominated. If I would have just played stronger into my Dromais, I would have been in day 2.
Well, there's a reason that Michael Hamilton was playing with Levia at the start of right after Dusk Till Dawn came out. I mean,
her math is
definitely
busted.
Something there with the hero.
Her math is busted, and I think with just a tiny bit more support, the only character right now that approaches her math on a turn cycle is Lexi, because she can consistently get 16 to 18 estimated value out of a turn cycle. You just have to deal with some of the inconsistencies of Blood Debt and drawing 2 reds off Blood Rush Bellow. I mean, Lexi does that too, except she gets to draw 3 cards. She doesn't have to discard a card at random, and she doesn't have Blood Debt to deal with.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's totally balanced.
I love Levia. I love the challenge of it. I love the heart palpitations you get when you have 1 6 and 3 non-6s in your graveyard and you're throwing your Dread Screamer out. It's fun.
What about you, Noah? What did you play at the calling?
Yeah.
None of us were qualified for Nats, right?
No, none of us qualified.
I missed it. I got close.
I know you were trying for it on experience. I think you got really close right on the 90-day.
I looked at it, and I could have pushed. Even if I pushed, I went and looked afterwards, I would have been at 70th. And it's like 65 got it. So I missed it if I would have pushed. I made the right call, not stressing myself out of it.
Yeah, there's always There's always next time. But I played Dory in the Calling, and it was okay. I ended up dropping after 3-3 because there was other things I wanted to do. It was Vegas. I didn't feel too bad about it. Just given the venue and the time and stuff like that. But I had a good time. I definitely enjoyed most of the games. Missouri one that I played first round, I kind of just won back. I just didn't read the list very well. I guess most Missouris just don't play fatigue anymore in the current meta, and so it was more of a red line, and I just wasn't. I fat decked, and so I was inconsistent when I needed to be more aggressive. So that one really was super unfortunate. And then I played into a Fi actually, and I just couldn't see any of my glistenings, and he had 2 Art of War turns, and so that's the draw. It's who gets glistening or Art of War.
But Fi will sneak wins. You gotta be careful. That ninja's always there waiting.
Perfect place. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it. Block where I needed to, where I felt fit. You know, the life was pretty good. We kept parity, even though I threw, I had like a whole turn where I just didn't block him at all. But I mean, it was still fairly close. I couldn't close it out. I finally got the power cards in the end, but it was too late. I needed 1 turn earlier to have a more impactful turn. But then I lost a super close one to a super fun swell Icelander player, and I couldn't even be mad about the loss. He showed up with the same backpack as me, and he was super happy and smiling. We were both having the time of our lives. And he's playing like Bullander, keeping 2 cards, throwing it. I'm like, this is good. Like, I'm not feeling too disrupted. He's like, this is a great back and forth. And then I'm hard pressed on this block, and I say, you know what? I said it doesn't matter because if I'm at 5, I'm gonna be at 5 or 4, and it was like 5 or 4 with Storm Striders. I'm dead either way, right?
Yeah.
I was like, you got it. I was like, I don't care. So I kept the extra card, swung into him, and he had enough to kill me over by 1. So even if I would have taken the block, it wouldn't have mattered. I was dead.
Yeah, so
I was
you made
dead
the right decision.
I was dead to a blue ice bolt, and I was like, perfect. I was like, I don't even feel bad. You killed me on the turn. I was gonna kill you with red overpower.
Yeah.
I was like, this is exactly how the game should be. So I went on my way and had a great rest of the time. Bought a bunch of stuff, did a couple of like breaks or whatever. Kind of like just seeing whatever. Picked up some stuff from the vendors and
yeah, you got your cold foil token.
Dice. And I got my cold foil courage token.
We banded together and got some tickets for the prize wall.
Yeah, so I didn't, because one of our buddies was farming them for me, but then they really wanted the shock charmer mat, and so we had a way to get everybody like everything. It was actually really cool.
And I will say, like, even if you don't feel like you're competitive enough to play in the Calling, you didn't make it to Nats or something, those events are totally worth it just from playing the side events. The side events are so much
100%.
fun, and if you're decent at the game, you're going to get enough tickets that you get your money back, like, easily.
That's what I was gonna say, and I generously gave them away because that's just what happens in Vegas. But I don't necessarily regret it. If I wanted to play more side events, I would have just played more side events. But I will say that I wanted to play technically in more side events than I did, because we did do a team sealed for Outsiders team sealed. It was kind of pricey. I actually didn't.
It was $105 for 3 people, but the fact that we went 4-1, we were getting 40 tickets each for every win.
Every win was 120, and then at the end we got a bonus.
Tickets were worth about 20 cents a piece.
Mm-hmm.
So we were making like so $8 per win approximately.
Not bad.
Yeah, so we got the money back. We really did, because not only that, if you get to 4-1 or 5-0, you get extra tickets on top of that. So we got to 4-1, which means we were getting 40 tickets a piece per win, and then we got 140 tickets a piece for 4-1 on top of that.
Yeah.
So I had enough tickets to basically pay for lunch that day and walk out with $20 and
Nice.
hand over Noah some so he can get his cold foil courage.
Yeah, it was
awesome.
It was super cool. I played Benji in the team sealed.
By the way, right before we started the podcast, we were talking about like banning cards and all this stuff. One thing that needs to be banned for sure is Kodachi Dory and Shapeshifter sealed. It's so broken. It's just like everyone played it. Everyone played it. They ran out of tokens for Kodachi's and Dory, and I had to draw my own little Dory token.
Look at it. Look at it. That's
Oh, that
Lori.
is awesome.
So
A
the
little
judges are
six-figure
going
Dory.
around. The judges are going around taking pictures.
Somewhere
Everybody's
around
done.
here, I actually have your Helios Mitra or whatever that you had to draw to. You had another one on a green.
I actually used that
sticky note.
Helios miter once to try not to die. What's funny is a lot of people didn't have headpieces on. I'm like, you know, Helios miter is a token. You could have had a headpiece. Yeah, Kadachi Dori is just oppressive. That is the most
Kadachi Dori is
oppressive.
nuts.
Swing Kadachi
It's
3
nuts.
times?
It's nuts.
Man, yeah, that's crazy. That was basically my experience. That was basically my experience when I went to Baltimore, because I played in the calling at Baltimore as well. And yeah, I wasn't qualified for the Pro Tour. I'm not good enough at the game to do that yet. Maybe someday, here's hoping. But the calling itself was phenomenal. Just getting to meet players from all over the place. I mean, I got to play against 2 different people from Australia and one of the guys from Team Poland, and just getting to interact with people from other cultures, getting to interact with people from all kinds of walks of life. That is a reason to go to these events in and of itself.
I was gonna say before we move on, because we should get into some of the nitty gritty on the meta and stuff. That was, I mean, everybody always talks so highly of the Fab community and how friendly everybody is, but like, there wasn't an ounce of a bad time. Do you know what I mean? Like, the whole time you were in that event from start to finish, it was a great atmosphere. It never changed. It never warped. No matter, like, you felt sour about some wins, but even people that kind of left feeling sour instantly, you feel like, because there's just so much fun going on.
Yeah, there's so much to do.
Everybody's having a good time. Nobody there means bad. We're all there for good flesh and blood. Great flesh and blood was played there. I mean, it was some of the most grueling matches ever. There were some amazing highlights.
Saw some people killing it on the craps tables.
Yeah, from the Fab community too.
Yeah.
And so it was great. Like, there was a lot of just winning and good feelings going on there. And that's what I love about this card game, is even in like losing, there's just so much wellspring of knowledge to be had, and just good feelings. And so it was definitely a great venue, and I hope they do it again, because that would be like, you tell me a yearly Vegas trip for Fab, and I'll start
Some
saving
people
now.
seem iffy about that. I thought Las Vegas was a great location. The traveling is pretty straightforward. The hotels are cheap. Like, you haven't been to a hotel in California recently? Those hotels are expensive, very expensive, like $1,200 a night expensive.
Yeah, it was, even staying at the Westgate, I had the room block or whatever, and it was pretty. The only 2 days that were like the heightened price were Saturday and Sunday, obviously, which would be the 2 days, but it was, or Friday and Saturday, but it was actually, wasn't too bad. I mean, I stayed there from technically Wednesday, because I booked it a day before, till Monday, and it wasn't too bad.
I split a room with 2 other people. We had like 2 beds plus a pull-out bed on the couch, so there were 3 beds, and I paid $220 for the whole weekend.
Wow.
It was very cheap. We gamed the system a little bit. I had like a voucher for the plane ticket. The person who did the room had like Marriott club status, so we kind of gamed it a little bit, and that drove the price down. But it was a pretty cheap vacation for me.
It would have been cheap if I didn't buy a bunch of cards and gamble, but we all knew that was going to happen anyway, and so I'm not too worried about it.
Okay.
I knew what I was doing.
So the most surprising thing about Nats was the fact that Briar won Nats.
It wasn't surprising. It was just a thankful.
It wasn't
happy...
surprising after it started to happen, right?
Yeah, sure.
Like day one,
I guess that's a way to put it.
Day one, you don't go, I think Briar's going to win Nats. Day two, you're like,
you hope.
Day two, you're like, man, there's a lot of Briars still. And then you're like, oh, they're fatigue, and oh my god, there's still a lot of Lexis here. I don't think Lexi's gonna do too hot. Oh, she's running AB4. I don't think these Icelanders are gonna do too hot. And then they didn't. It's still close matches, but that's how fatigue goes. It's usually this like very tight math to bring it down to an inevitable conclusion, because that's what Oldham would do.
Yeah.
And that's why Charles Dunn won nationals with that Briar list, is because he was a fatigue master that played Oldham, forever.
It's like chess.
He was, yeah. I mean, some of the lines that he took on camera, that like there was one point where he was at 3, I want to say, and he blocked with the tunic, and Rain Razors could have killed him if he didn't have a D-react, but he had the D-react up just in case. and he managed to get through that turn without the rain racers coming at him. It was masterful. It was absolutely masterful, because that put him down to exactly 1 life. So he was able to block with his Vandal's Fighting Spirit, I believe, and gain a life, just so he could maximize the value off of the Fighting Spirit. It was brilliant. Wow. It was brilliant to watch. It was one of the coolest games of Flesh and Blood that I've seen, and I watch a lot of Flesh and Blood. I watch a lot of content.
Also, it turns out that block 2 gain 1 life on a person that swings for 5 a lot. It's pretty good.
Yeah, go figure.
Mm-hmm. Those breakpoints, man, and then you get the value no matter what, because it always feels bad to block a 5 with 6, right?
Yeah,
it does.
But when you block it for 5 and gain 1, feels...
yeah, for sure. But
that's why I actually think Fendel's Fighting Spirit is a. I mean, like, it's a really sneaky card, but like, it's really good, right? It's a block 2, but it's a block 2 for a reason, because it's technically still 3 value when you play it out, and it gives you that ability to block those wonky 5 breakpoints that you don't want to put a piece of armor from or lose 2 cards. It's beautiful.
I think it's sad that, like, we're losing another hero that could have slowed the meta down as soon as the build got found.
Well, but you say that, but I honestly think, and I know we don't want to jump too far, but like, I mean, I think the meta's going to get slower. I don't think that Bright Light's necessarily one of those 3 heroes is going to slow the meta down, whether you like it or not. I think so.
I think so. You think Evo's
item hero, but one of them's focused on boost and the other one's focused on Evos. I don't know if
the Evo puts a lot of armor out onto it, which adds a lot more HP. I mean, I'm just saying it's going to take a lot to break that stuff down. Most of it's temper too, and that means that Dominate doesn't really have a good effect.
No, it's temper 3. It blocks for 5 before it drops to 1 defense. So you've got to remember that, like, if you're running couple of those, like, those are each representing like 5 life in your deck. You clearly never block with the last one unless you're going to die, because then you kind of lose all of it. You lose the base.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Dominate.
Unless you refresh it, because they're not legendary, you can just play another one on top of it.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying though, is if you block the temper 1, it breaks, and I'm pretty sure all of the cards go to discard, including the base. You don't lose just the top card. You lose the top and bottom. Just like if Nitro Mechanoid gets destroyed, you don't get your armor back.
Right.
But Nitro Mechanoid specific. Well, I mean, I guess they both specifically say that put this
transform
card
and put under. Yep. Transform and put under.
And put under. Yeah. No, that would make sense, and you would lose it. But either way, I mean, having 5 life slows the meta down, whether you think it does or not, in my opinion. I mean, I guess it doesn't. I mean, if you just want to play fast
I think it's going to go the other way. I think the ice is on its way out. Earth is essentially gone. So our elementals are done. Like, lightning was never a big deal.
Gone once Briar goes.
Mm-hmm. Earth is gone. No hero can play Crown of Seeds in Classic Constructed.
Yeah, that does not hurt my feelings in the least. Seeing Crown of Seeds go. As somebody that plays Kodachis, Crown of Seeds I was not a fan. 100% not a fan. Glad to see that gone.
You don't like someone basically blocking your Kodachi for free and getting to control their pitch stack very, very, very specifically?
No. Do you know how bad of a matchup Oldhim was for Katsu? Man, that matchup was almost unwinnable. It was horrible. And I can only imagine that the Briar matchup, the new Fatigue Briar, it would just be that much worse, because she can actually have, pop-off turns on top of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
She's already a tough matchup for Dory. It's almost impossible to beat the Fatigue version, I think, without some crazy high roll.
Yeah, when is the next ban list supposed to come out? I think I heard September 14th, something like that.
Is it that soon? It's going to be before Worlds, and that's going to be the biggest impact that it has.
Yeah.
So it's going to be before Worlds. So we have a lot of events coming up, but I think they're all after that ban happens. So I guess let's talk about what's coming up. So just announced like last night is the UPF focused set curated by the professor of MTG fame, It has 3 new heroes. Interestingly, one hero is coming back. So we get a bard, we get a
Good
ninja,
choice of hero to bring back.
we get
100%.
a guardian who's actually a guardian, and we get a mechanologist. The professor will be our mechanologist hero.
Around the table.
Yeah, around the table.
Terrarian Community College and LSS. I have not been this stoked about a product since I first learned about all the ninja stuff coming in Outsiders. This thing looks amazing. This product is absolutely, it looks awesome. I'm 100% going to be buying it.
Yeah, the box
There's
looks
no doubt.
great. The box that comes in looks great. It comes with a mat, so you're already looking at like $30-ish of value from the mat itself. Then it comes with 4 blitz decks, and there will probably be cards that are relevant in it. We've already seen a few that look extremely relevant. Guardians are getting a 2-block boots. They give you a token when you block. They give the opponent a token, or all the opponents, I think, a token when they block.
All opponents a quicken token. Yeah, which would technically just be your opposing hero and CC.
But Guardians are definitely going to run it. It's 2 block.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The extra. Well, it's
that's
3 block, right?
100%.
It's 3 block. Yeah, because it's temper. Yeah,
maybe
or
you get a
battle,
little
or battle
worried
armor is a
about
temper.
like running them against Levia or something because you don't want to get hit with 2 endless maws. But
Yeah.
I think they're gonna run it for sure. And then Ninja's getting red Bittering Thorns, which puts Bittering Thorns, which is a fairly decent card, but it was yellow that hit for 3. Now it's a red that hits for 4.
I mean, it comes in at that good break point, and it costing 1 means that you can go Kadachi, Bittering Thorns, and then potentially look for a combo card to start your chain, and that's pretty cool, but I think that's more of a Fi card than it's going to be a Katsu card.
I think it's going to be better for Fi, and clearly it's great for Ira.
I was going to say, I think it's going to be fine for Ira. It's stacking damage on that second swing even more is just free. I mean, you could literally open with it if it hits. Your next swing's coming in for 2 more.
It might be okay with Benji because Benji as well can push it up to 5 when he swings for it, which gets over like Sink Below.
Yeah.
5's a good number. Sometimes it's better than 4.
I think the cards are going to be great, and in fact, I think one of the things that LSS is so good at is creating sets and products that also entice new players, but at the same time keep things relevant for current players. I mean, there's going to be cards that, like they said, are going to translate into CC, and I think that this being like the intro to the UPF is a really good way of getting people into it because it almost feels like a board game in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like it feels like a weird standalone board game, kind of a free-for-all kind of mishmash, have a good time.
I want to disagree with you though about LSS being good about bringing new players in the game. I think their product's actually pretty weak to that, since Classic Constructed is their biggest focus, and this game is extremely deep. So the people that you draw into Flesh and Blood are the people who go, wow, I really love the math of this game. I really like how it feels like I'm playing Street Fighter with cards. Because you've got 2 heroes facing off against each other, and you're whittling down that yellow health bar, and you're basically, if you could even, like, I think there's some YouTube videos about how close Flesh and Blood is to a video game fighting game. Because
Gorganian Tome.
Yeah, because if you think about frame data, there is frame data in Flesh and Blood, like the way block and attack. Yeah, the layer system, like, so. I think this new thing is great.
That's competitive of everything. Do you know what I mean? Because like, there's casual fun for just picking up Street Fighter and beating each other up. I mean, if you want to look for the depth in the game, it's there. But I don't think that's LSS's fault that the game has that much complexities and depth to it that makes it.
They had a
really
purpose.
Good competitive game,
and their purpose was create the best competitive game in the world as far as TCGs go.
And I mean, I think they're on their way to that in terms of that. But I also think that the crack 3 and I think that there's a lot of concessions still being made to try and say, hey, look, we understand that at the high level it's going to be this, but there's still so much casual fun to be had.
UPF, crack shuffle play, and the PvE mode that they're going to come out with eventually. And there are some fan made PvEs that I would like to try out, and I would like to make some of them myself because I feel like it would be fun to design some PvE content.
People are
going
probably familiar. Sorry, I was gonna say people are probably familiar with like board game esque things, like Aeon or Sentinels of the Aeon or whatever, but or any like the card games where you work together cooperatively, and that's kind of what it almost feels like. I think there's going to be that type of appeal for the more casual player, where it is almost like a board game, a cooperative esque board game with the PV and stuff. But that's it. Sorry.
So
Yeah, I don't really see it so much of as a board game, but it gives me very, very strong role-playing game vibes. It gives me very strong Dungeon and Dragons vibes. I mean, you've got your bard, you've got your tank. I mean, with your guardian, this set feels like it's absolutely made for PvE when it comes out, and the fact that these classes translate so well to your typical party setup in one of these role-playing games, it's going to make for an easy transition for some of these new people coming into the game. I mean, I think this thing's going to be a home run.
I think there's potential for like constructed PvE and limited PvE as well, like a roguelike almost.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Yeah, can you limited PvE sounds like a thing. Like there's an event, you show up, they're going to put these bosses out and they're going to give you packs and say, hey, this is a PvE experience and you have to figure it out with your limited resources that you have.
That would be sick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just another way of yeah, that's sick.
So, yeah, we've got our UPF coming out. We know PvE will come out eventually, but the thing that comes out the same night as the UPF box is the Bright Lights pre-release. And I think the crack shuffle play format they're introducing to that is going to be fantastic. I know there's some negative feelings about a full mechanologist set. I don't feel negative about it. I love mechanologist. But
full mechanologist set. I mean,
I was going to say there's
all mechs, but during the interview with James White from Instant Speed, Flake, got it out of him that the new expansion slot is not going to be just mechs. I mean, he said that there's going to be stuff for a lot of different classes coming out in that. I mean, we already know about the Tunic reprint, but he said that there's going to be some really powerful things coming out in the expansion slot that aren't just mech.
I think the expansion slot having a valuable card in it is fairly rare. We won't know until it's out, but I heard rumors like it's supposed to be like 1 in 15, so you get maybe 2 per box. The 2 per box sounds all right. If they're all pretty high value, like Majestic or better, 2 per box sounds reasonable.
You'd assume they would be Majestic or better.
Yeah, sure.
In terms of just how they're kind of explaining it with the expansion slot. But I mean, I'm not exactly the biggest mech player. I'm still going to buy the set. I mean, it's not going to stop me from opening cards like I want to open the cards and enjoy. Plus, some of the heroes are probably going to be super fun, and who knows? I might fall in love with one of them. I mean, there might be some new way of playing that's just like, whoa, this is great.
Well, the crack shuffle play looks pretty cool, but also the fact that it's going to be a super simple set to draft, and you only need the 4 packs for sealed. I mean, there's a lot of good things I see coming as far as limited goes with this set.
It could be the other way around though, because you know how usually the games are fun, but the drafting is painful.
Yeah,
it might flip where the drafting is easy, but the games all end up being like crazy high roll because every card is usable, right? So the decks kind of sucking kind of sometimes make for better gameplay. Like when we did the Outsiders Sealed Team event, my deck was awful. Like I got completely flattened my first 2 rounds, and Noah and Brandon carried. But after that, I actually started to pick up some games because I just sequenced well. I think I had 2 or 3 red arrows in my Azalea deck. It was rough. But I'm excited for draft. I really like the draft format. Monarch was really tough for me because I'm quite new to hero-centric drafting. So I think the easier drafting, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to the drafting in this set versus Monarch, but I still think Monarch's a fun drafting set. I think knowing your seat and like kind of the reason why you're picking the cards, and then also like the cards that just sit in the middle between both the light shadow and like the generics, just there's a lot of good intricacies with that set.
Yeah,
but it will be nice to not
a lot
have
of exciting things coming.
Oh yeah.
LSS is really stepping up their game as far as pushing products to get new players in. And we are definitely seeing that with, around the table, and we're going to be seeing it with Bright Lights. I cannot wait for spoiler season.
And they've really said, like, the James White interview that just came out on Instant Speed, he mentioned there's going to be a lot of new heroes in the next 12 months, which, if you've also heard that their goal has always been to push up to 4 sets per year. That kind of like sounds like they're enacting that goal. We've got the elemental heroes finally all leaving. So Dash is right on the edge. Who else is right on the edge? I think it's mainly Lexi, Icelander, and Dash right now.
Yeah, those are the highest, I believe.
So that, like, the mechanologist set's coming just in time, because Dash could have LL'd this Nats season if she just scooped up some Nats game. She could always win. I think she's too fair, but
He's definitely too fair.
Sometimes you just get the nuts and you shoot the gun a ton of times, or you max V someone 2 turns in a row.
Well, yeah, but that's still fair. It's still fair. No on hit.
Yeah,
you're not getting hit with a 12 ice quake, 8 frost. You're not getting 4 frostbites at the end of a 4-card chain that you have to block precisely and try and math out why I'm keeping cards and take.
You keep 2 cards, and their last thing is, okay, I'm going to turn Lexi and flip her face up after that last reload. Right. You thought it was going to be arrow? Surprise! It's 4 frostbites. Have fun.
Yeah, it's like, good luck. That's the problem. And Dash just says, no, you're going to take 4 a whole bunch. And so when people go, oh, it's 4 vanilla, like, it feels better.
Until it's not. They pulse wave harpoon your power card out of your hand.
Until it's not. Pulse wave is
T-Bone
definitely...
is a thing.
Yeah,
T-Bone and pulse wave
T-Bone does
so good.
But there's some heroes that don't care at all about T-Bone. Like Guardian's like, I'm going to give you the gear anyway. And womp, womp, womp. But then again, Guardian struggles to gun setup.
Yeah.
Dash would definitely be a good hero.
About mechanologist, it would be you, Thomas.
Yes, I love Dash. I didn't play her because the appeal of a new hero. I haven't been playing long, and first hero I jumped into was Dash, so I was very excited to play Leviah. I also got the Marvel Leviah at pre-release, so it kind of sealed the deal for me. And then I just think she was too fair. Even though she did get better with the ban of bullseye bracers, it made it easier to T-bone all of Lexi's gear off. It's still... I'm excited for Bright Lights, though. I'll probably jump right back into Mechanologist. I love the motif of Mechanologist. I really love Dash. I'm excited to see what Dash IO does.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we know what Tekla does, but man, there's so much to look forward to.
Yeah, what is Dashio? I'm gonna call her Dashio from now on. She's Dashio.
Dashio. Okay. I like
Dashio.
that.
So right after Bright Lights and leading up to, I think, to Worlds, or it's around the same time as the Worlds, we've got a spoiler of ProQuest.
It's going to be from October to November, according to the picture that was linked.
And is Worlds at the end of October? I forget.
Worlds is at the end. I think it's like in the middle of November, like
middle of November.
19th,
okay, so that means ProQuest
I'm not
happens.
Going, so I haven't been keeping track.
Let's see. Let me check. Worlds Fab TCG 2023.
Looking it up live. Gotta love it.
Yeah. November 16th to November 19th. Yeah, so it's like ProQuest runs right up to Worlds.
So whatever happens between now and the next ban list, or PQ season is going to come after the next ban list from what we think, right? The next ban list is supposed to be September the 14th.
Yeah, I think we'll have whatever new meta we're getting. Briar's gone. We might have one more card peeled off of Lexi somehow, which I doubt. James White.
Warmongers will be getting banned.
No, I just really don't think so. I think go listen to the Instant Speed podcast. James White seems very happy with the current state. Very, very happy with the current state. He says, yes, Voltaire is overpowered. We made it overpowered. We want it to shift out of the meta naturally. We don't want to ban every card that's strong. Right?
To be fair, Voltaire was built at a different time in Fab, back when Rangers were the absolute dogs of the game.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
he wanted to make sure that the new hero, Alexi, had a fair shot at being decent. So they really pushed Voltaire.
and she wasn't.
Yeah.
She was very mediocre, even with Voltaire. So they didn't do anything wrong then. It was the level of power in the new arrows and codex.
Yeah, and Outsiders.
Yeah, and outsiders that juiced her.
Whoa.
Yeah, Codex of Frailty. You add those arrows that come out at like 7 points of value for one cost. Then yeah, she starts to get quite good. And somehow, like Falcon Wing, nothing tilts me more than like Heat Seeker bringing a Falcon Wing face up. Just like it's so angry. Like how do you just get +3 damage for free? Like how's this happen?
Yeah, but I don't think anything else is going to come off. Is going to come off Alexi. We have pretty much got what we've got until Worlds. I actually
don't think they're going to ban anything off Lexi. I think the fact that like was it the calling 4 Lexis got in the top 8 and then immediately 3 of them lost. Like, and they didn't lose to Lexis. It was one of those weird things where all 4 Lexis were in different seeds. So they all got beat by legitimately another hero. So,
which works out.
Or was it Nats? It was either the Nats top 8 or the calling top 8, where there were 4 Lexis and 3 of them just got
what was
dumpstered
Nats?
Immediately.
Nats was 3 Lexis, 2 Briars, was it 2 Icelanders?
That sounds
2 Icelanders
and 1
because
Dromai, right?
Daniel Rakowski made it and Lucas Oswald both made it, I thought.
So that was 7 and then 1 Dromai. Right?
Lexi is strong, but she is very beatable and she is also targetable. So
yeah,
she does still rely on her arsenal to have effective turns. She does still run non-blocks. She still runs a lot of reds, and she can have very weak turns if she doesn't get the blue. And I think she runs 11 blues in her deck. So there is some volatility there. Just 3 of a kind is very frustrating. Codex of Frailty is very frustrating, but I don't think see any.
Yeah, nothing's gonna go. But as far as PQ season goes, what do you think that means for when it says we're qualifying for Pro Tour USA? That's what it said on the image. It said qualifying for Pro Tour USA. Does that possibly mean that there's going to be more than 1 Pro Tour next year?
They might. Maybe they'll do a Continental Pro Tour. They want to get more events, so maybe a Continental Pro Tour. So they do North America, Europe, Asia.
Yeah, have they said what their budget for next year is going to be? What their total prize pool is?
I think we get to learn about that probably when Nats ends, right? When we're done with Nats, that's when we're going to learn about ProQuest, and as we're learning about ProQuest, we'll learn about Pro Tour.
Yeah, I was surprised there wasn't any major announcements at US Nats, to be honest. I kind of expected something to come.
I was surprised too, but maybe because I think it was the very first weekend in the national seasons. Maybe it's kind of hanging on. My big guess is because of their recent deal with a new publisher in Japan that there'll be a big event in Japan.
Yeah,
it's time to start saving money and get a passport. So, because it'd be a good reason to visit Japan and play card games.
Yeah, because so far the only event that's. Go ahead, Don. Sorry.
No, I was just saying good thing I have a passport. That was it.
Yeah, I gotta get one.
Yeah, I will eventually have to pick one up as well, but I don't see international travel on my docket anytime soon. It's just another one of those things. Not going to be not so easy for a fab dad.
Yeah, but, I mean it's very expensive, and I would try to make if Japan, it would try to just structure a family vacation around it so that it's not just me getting to go and do something fun, but that also makes it more expensive.
Yeah, if I were going to do an international trip with the family, Japan is on my bucket list anyway. I want to go to Japan just because that's nerd mecca. If you're a nerd, you have to go to Japan at some point in your life. It's just mandatory. But that is, it just depends on what they do, you know?
Okay. I do have a question. There's one thing that I wasn't like very sure about. What are the social play kits that we've like heard some stuff about?
Well, that was also included in the announcement for Around the Table. it's going to be another kind of basically an armory kit. It's going to be a bunch of promos that are coming out for stores that do casual play events. And in one of our local discords, I was talking to a couple of the guys trying to gauge out what how everybody would feel about trying out, a more casual day, like once or twice a month, maybe, just so we can start building up to justify getting these play kits. Because the announcement said something about one of the kits is going to be a bunch of Melody promos, and Melody is the hero that I am most excited for getting out of around the table.
Gotta have an all bard UPF game at some point. Everyone's just singing songs, and there's just stacks of tokens all over. Copper and
we're
tokens.
Need one copper each, and like 5 D20s at each person's deck. That's
You're gonna have all these tokens from all the song buffs.
It is gonna be so great. I cannot wait for that hero. In D&D, that's all I play. I play bards. If I'm not running the game, I'm playing bards. Man, I love it.
So, I don't think we have a lot of meta to discuss other than what we think the remaining Nats meta season's going to be like, and I think it's going to be very Lexi heavy. It's hard to discuss though going into ProQuest because there's going to be a whole new set with 3 new heroes. There's going to be a dramatic change. Is it possible for anyone to LL during the Nat season? Like, could Icelander or Lexi pick up enough wins to LL?
It is within the realm of possibility for either or both of those heroes to potentially get there.
That would be crazy if Lexi is so successful that she just living legends right out in a single Nat season. That will definitely
any potential, yeah.
Yeah, you don't need bans, so she gets herself banned.
You don't need bans if that's how it goes.
The most effective way to shut off Lexi is to ban Voltaire, and if she's banned, Voltaire goes too.
Yep. Yeah. If they don't LL during that season, they are most likely gone during ProQuest season. So within a couple of months, we may be looking at a completely winter-free Flesh and Blood experience.
Yeah. Given the current meta, who do you think is going to win Worlds?
Who's going to win Worlds?
If Mechanologist doesn't have a big enough impact to shift the meta to a Mechanologist hero winning it, I still think it's probably just going to be Lexi has the best math. She has the best on hits. There'll be Lexi or a deck that beats Lexi, like we're seeing now. So we lost the Briar that won the Nats.
When is Bright Lights coming out again?
The last weekend of this month. It's like on the cusp of this month and next month. Okay,
so we're going to be getting like 6 weeks of practice time with Bright Lights before Worlds, something like that.
Dash is on that hairy edge of outmathing Lexi though, and T-Bone is a hell of a drug against Lexi.
I was gonna say, if Lexi doesn't get herself LL'd before that, or somehow, and she makes it to Worlds, and I think it'll still be Lexi. But I mean, I would put Dash as a close second, and or Icelander if she's still in the mix. But it's those. I put those potential 3. Once Lexi and Icelander are gone, I think Dash just comes right back up. There's too much versatility in the build. I think
Dash can have a hard time versus Stromae. Especially with Lost in Thought, and Dash is only running like 9 6s, 10 6s.
If Lexi goes, and Icelander possibly goes during ProQuest season, my hot take for who's going to win Worlds, Fi. It's going to be a Kadachi Fi. Because Fi eats Dromais for breakfast, and Mechanologist does not have a great matchup into the Ninja. So my take is going to be Fi.
Aggro meta is here.
The meta would get really fast, and so I mean that's makes sense.
Okay, so
Things are definitely going to get faster.
Lexi has picked up 258 living legend point in the DTDs. Wow. So I think she would need to pick up quite a few national championships. Let's see. It's 40 points per national championship. For larger ones. Not for all of them. Yeah. The smaller ones are only 10. I think it's quite a stretch.
What is she at?
For Lexi. She's at 658 right now. And I think that's up to date as of today.
It was updated yesterday.
Yeah. So in 2 weeks, 2 weekends worth of nationals, can she get 342 points? I don't think so.
I think there's only like 500 points left. There was somebody on Twitter, I think it was at Vishra TCG, that's been doing a spreadsheet and keeping track of all of the nationals as they were reported. And their data sheet was very, very close to what the update for the Living Legend looked like. And what it said was there was about 500 points left as of last weekend. Like once everything was said and done, the dust had settled from last weekend, there's roughly 500 points left. But we do have a Battle Hardened coming up, Battle Hardened Columbus as well.
Yeah, so that's this weekend.
Another couple points.
That's another, yeah, Battle Hardens are 10. So, and those smaller events do tend to, you see the more meta heroes kind of in them out.
Yeah, I can definitely see Lexi getting that one.
Icelanders at 814. I even think,
yeah, she's close.
I still think 100, that's 186 points left. So if she doubles the amount of points that she's gotten in DTD season right now, she would probably hit it. The problem is that Icelander is very challenging to play. And no matter how good you are, sometimes bad luck happens. You draw all of your attack actions and you just lose because they're all your value all in one hand and you can't play any of them. So the very good players can lose to variance a little bit on Icelander, and then the players who are less good will struggle against these guys that have played 1,000 reps into Icelander, pick her apart. I don't think we're going to see anyone else Living Legend this season. I think we're going to see a couple pickups of like Katsu and Bravo and Dash as well. So I think we're going to get a pretty even distribution of Living Legend points over the next 2 weeks.
I think Lexi gobbles up at least 50% of those points.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
If they aren't gone in Nats, then it is very, very likely they're gone in ProQuest season.
Yeah.
But I don't know if
I do agree
I don't know if that's going to have an impact on Worlds or not.
That's true. Hitting Living Legend in Worlds in ProQuest may not mean that you are banned by Worlds. Not sure.
Yeah. We'll have to wait to see what the official announcements are.
Yeah, I don't know the trends really well with the ban and suspended. Okay. So, I mean, I feel like this is a great time to have a break from Flesh and Blood. We just got off Nats. I kind of want to play. I'm really tempted to play hardcore WoW. Watching people die on that game's hilarious. But I plan to keep kind of getting my Leviathan practice games in and even start practicing Dash a little more. But I think this is a great time to maybe like relax, not feel like stressed. I gotta get several games in per night. I'm gonna enjoy watching Columbus. That's the bad thing about going to the events and playing in them. You don't get to watch them.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a little bit of a fab break for me and play some actual other video games.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking more into the casual side of the game, because my editor at Fabric is wanting to do an article series, or not a series, but do an article on UPF. So I've got to look into that anyway.
Hell yeah!
So if I'm hoping to figure out what all the rules and everything are, because I know nothing about the format so far. But he was like, "Hey, who wants to do this article?" I said, "Yo, me, I'll do it. What you got?" So I've got to learn the rules and everything anyway. So I want to see who I can get roped into trying it at locals maybe tomorrow. Hint, hint. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Maybe.
I won't have a deck ready. I'll be rolling up with what I had at Nats, which I had both my Dash and my Levi on me complete and ready to go. But you know, once the UPF focus product, the roundtable product comes out, I'll have those on me all the time. I don't plan on deconstructing those at all. I'll always keep those boxed up and ready to play. But that'll give me some ideas of maybe what kind of deck I would enjoy UPF. I'm kind of digging the idea of like Guardian where I defend a bunch of people and it allows me to thwomp someone who's being bad.
Lay down the law. That's gonna be great.
It's just like the idea of you defend everyone against the ninja and give the ninja the bonk.
No. I don't know if Ira's going to be the biggest threat though. With the professor and
Being
all
able
of
to
that
shoot
equipment.
everybody, yeah.
Yes.
And also
Yeah,
he
that nice
plays
stuff
all the
looks great,
equipment.
man.
He plays all of the equipment for free.
Yep.
In a 4-player game.
Oh,
I mean,
that's gonna be so good.
If I was helping someone make a card product and I was going to actually have me on the card, I would try to make sure the card was pretty strong.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, it's
100%.
definitely a very strong card.
It looks strong. Anyway, I think that puts us at like right at an hour. So this is a good time
Okay.
to wrap up, and we'll do it again next Wednesday. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more announcements, but we'll be able to talk about Columbus. We'll be able to talk about a couple of the other Nats. We'll see the update on that Living Legend. Also, I'll be able to see what my new constructed. I want some games.
Yeah.
I want some games.
You want some big rated
Yeah.
games?
I'm excited. All right.
All right.
So,
Sounds good.
yep. See everyone next week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
And this is where the outro we don't have.
In due time, we can come up with a really creative one. Good intro, good outro. Just something simple.